Hello, hello, hello. This is Overlord Bo back with another Project CW video. Today we're going to be talking about the one and only Akira. I've had a few people asking me about this particular tank, so I thought it was about time I showcased it a little bit. So today we'll be watching some gameplay, and then we'll go into the build after the gameplay is done. So there's about 2 matches for y'all to watch, and then we'll be going into the build. So overall, the Akira to me is more of a higher DPM, pretty much support vehicle where it doesn't have the most pin, but if you build into critical hit damage and you're able to do a lot of critical hits on it, it is a devastating monster. It can do a lot of damage. Now, with its unique cooling system, where it's pretty much like an autoloader, where instead of clips, it pretty much just has unlimited rounds, but it's limited by if it overheats. Now, if you see that little center thermal gauge there, when that goes all the way full, you pretty much cannot shoot until that goes all the way back down. So you don't want to do that in the red. You want it to stay below that. But with my particular build I do for this thing, I build into the critical hit damage and the cooling, which makes it where you do an insane amount of damage for the critical hit damage when you do hit crits. But I have suffered a little bit of issues with this thing not having too much. Like, it does have some pin, but not like the most pin compared to like a Jaeger. I don't think anything is going to compare to that thing's pin. The Jaeger's pin is insane. I feel like this thing is it's not as maneuverable as the Jaeger either, but this is more of like a support vehicle, kind of like how, or light support vehicle, like how the Rakata is, how it's light support vehicle, fast moving, or being a little bit mobile-ish. But anywho, yeah, I've had people doing vehicles on this thing, so I just wanted to showcase some gameplay. A lot of the time with these particular tanks, you really can't be the frontline tank. You're more of the supporting the flank. And if your team starts getting pushed in by a bunch of tanks, usually you're trying to shoot the weak spots on tanks while the main tanks take the brute force of the attack. This is normally how I play this particular tank. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's very enjoyable. Unfortunately, the alpha playtest is ending soon. Well, actually, by the time this video comes out, the alpha playtest will be over. They were kind enough to extend it to February 5th, though, which was very nice of them to do. Very much enjoyable. Yeah, I was very grateful for them to extending the alpha play test for Project CW, because I've been really enjoying this game. It's like a I don't know, like World of Tanks with a slash of like a first-person shooter kind of feel of how fast-paced it is. It just feels like a kind of like a breath of fresh air into the current tank meta. You know what I mean? A lot of the time the matches are really slow, or the matches are super slow paced, but with this particular game it's a lot more fast paced, which makes it a lot more action filled, which kind of just makes it where you're having a lot more fun more often. Pretty much there's a lot more to do. Pretty much you actually have to be on your toes a lot more than compared to, like, say, World of Warships or World of Tanks, where you can pretty much be alt-tabbed answering emails sometimes during those matches on how slow paced they can be. Now, as you can see in this particular match, it's pretty much a complete wash for the enemy team. I even wanted to set up an ambush, so I kind of just sit here hoping somebody comes around. They get a little bit, they're just trying to push up on the flank to get some points, but unfortunately no one comes the way that I'm wanting. They go the other way to a cap. So I was very upset about that, because I was super excited to kind of just sit here and wait, and hopefully somebody would drive by and I would just absolutely slap their engine and ammo rack. And I was really, really, really hoping for that, but unfortunately it did not come to pass. I was also very happy to see that they nerfed the chopper. I'm very happy that they did. It took them a little bit, but at least they were able to. They removed the AC 130 ability from it, which was very much needed. A lot of the times, if you guys didn't know or aware, a lot of people would bring in like a double div of choppers, and they were pretty much unstoppable. The two AC-130 abilities, when you built into them, it pretty much made it where you just had non-stop AC-130s just barraging you, and there wasn't really much you could do about it. It was a real pain in the ass, for sure. Pain in the ass. I'm glad that they finally actually nerfed it, for sure. Now, even though it did get nerfed, they also nerfed the gun damage as well, but the chopper is still really tanky and still very popular. So I'm interested to see how it's gonna go with whenever this game goes into beta, which they haven't really said when yet due to the fact that the game is still in alpha. And yeah, me trying to do long shots with this thing, you know, forward-facing tank is definitely not going to be a good idea. You're trying to hit more of like the weak sides or the weak vulnerable like turret sides as well. You're not trying to aim for top like that from that distance, especially not on that tank. I do enjoy the different diversity of this tank. The fact that, you know, there are a few clip loading tanks in this game already, so having one that's just based off of cooling instead, where you have to make sure that you use your proper skill of not overheating your gun, because if you overheat the gun, it's like you're not going to be able to shoot for, I think it's like 15 seconds. It takes a while to be able to actually cool it down out of that emergency stage. So you're trying the best you can not to get that emergency cooling, because if you do, it's gonna be such a pain. But look at that critical hit damage from here. Jesus, dude. Just slapping the poor guy, and he's dead. Yep, poor fella. And this is what I mean by getting the sides. You just get those side hits, you build in a critical hit, and you just wallop in them. Because the gun damage isn't super high, but the amount of rounds you're able to put out is a lot of damage. But as you can see, me and my little buddy over here, we're kind of just holding off this flank over here, making sure they can't move up over here. Pretty much they have to come all the way around our side to actually do something. So we're having some fun doing that, and they kind of got the gist of what we were doing, and they were like, nah, we don't want to. Also, I've noticed that a lot of the tanks, if you let the reticle go all the way down, it's actually really like wherever you're pointing at, it will hit. There is no recoil or anything like that if you let the reticle go, you know, pretty much to where it's not moving anymore, where it's a smaller size. And I did try to shoot him, but yeah, try to shoot an, no, I didn't try, never mind, I didn't shoot him. I was about to say, try to shoot an atom like that from this distance with this thing, yeah, it's not gonna happen. I'm still trying to figure out where to shoot atoms, dude. They are ridiculously, oh, and that was a blitz, by the way. If you're wondering what hit me, that was a blitz. He wasn't very happy with me, so he did a little missile strike on me, so thanks. But I still haven't figured out where to aim at atoms to really do like considerable amount of damage. It is actually one of my biggest annoyances, because I don't really get to fight them that much. Not many people are using them. They're using a lot more of like the newer agents that are coming out, or just trying to see how the balancing is for other ones. Or it's just people are having a hard time actually getting the atom. So pretty much at this point, I'm trying to be a sneaky little dude, and they have not seen me at all, and I'm just not moving because I didn't want them to try to figure out where, like, you know, most people see things by movement, so I thought if I didn't move, they wouldn't notice me. Like a T-Rex, you know, it's like, don't move a muscle. And this little attempt here, it could go well. Now, let's let's see. So yep, I should have just aimed for the turret first. I was dumb and aimed for the engine first. That was a huge mistake on my part. And if I would have actually aimed for the ammo rack on the first shot, I would have killed him 100%. But anyway, I kind of figured out I was gonna die anyway, so I just went for the ram, at least for the trade. And in the end, it was worth it in the end for doing a trade.
We won't let them taste victory.
But yep, at this point as well, with holding off that right flank for so long, really made it where we had like a lot of point gain from those 2 caps. So we were able to do a really good job with that in this particular match. Now, I do see that A cap is being taken right now, so I do start heading over. So I'm gonna head over there as quickly as I can, trying to do any amount of damage. And how do I actually don't remember how I did it in this situation. See, I keep aiming for see, that's my big mistake, right? I keep trying to aim for the engine and then I don't aim for the right spot on the engine. Normally when you're aiming at the engine, you want to aim where the little fire comes out, like from the sprint. You're trying to aim for that little area to get that fire damage as well. Also, right here, yeah, if you didn't know, you can aim there for the ammo rack on the Akira, by the way. You're welcome for that little tidbit. Yeah, unfortunately though, my luck kind of runs out here. I did win that 2v1, sorry, 1v2, which I was very happy about in that situation, so I'll take it. The amount of DPM this thing has is absolutely incredible. That's why I enjoy playing tanks like this, or the Kent, or the Rakata. I think I'm saying it right. Is it the Rakata? I'm probably saying it wrong, so my apologies. But that's why I like playing tanks like those, because you can do an insane amount of DPM while being super mobile. Now, this thing isn't as mobile as like a Kent or a Rakata itself. Actually, no. This thing is more mobile than a Kent. Yeah. It's just the Kent's lower profile than this thing. But yeah, pretty much at this point, it's pretty much a guaranteed win. They aren't going to be able to get any caps in time, and so yeah, they aren't going to be able to get the caps in time. So it's pretty much a GG for this particular match. But anyway, this is the gameplay portion of the video, so I'm going to hop over to the build section, so you guys can look over the build that I have, and if you guys have any comments on the build, just let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay, and yeah, we're gonna hop over to the build section of the video. Alrighty then, so hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay from the Akira. So I've had a lot of people asking me about the build for the Akira in particular, so I'll just showcase the build real quick since we just watched some gameplay. So for the Akira build, I go more for focusing on the cooldown and critical hit damage, since this thing does pap a wallop if you do get those critical hits. When you do hit them, it can be kind of rough due to how low the pen is, but other than that, this tank can be a lot of fun to play, so let's get right into it. For the first slot, I go with critical hit multiplier plus shell speed. I really enjoy that for sure. It's very nice indeed. In the second slot, I go with aiming speed with reticle size after fire. Pretty much just makes it where you can rapid fire this thing if you need to, hitting those sweet shots. It's really nice to do that. For the third slot, I go with critical multiplier again with plus shell speed. Just makes the shells quicker and you're likely to actually hit your shots. If you want to do the thermal sleeve, you are more than welcome to do that one in as well. It pretty much just makes it where reticle when you're not moving is more accurate, and the reticle size after shot is 8% smaller as well. But it's more of like a personal preference. You want to do that, but I personally just want to do this because when you have your reticle all the way tightened down, you're pretty much going to hit where you're aiming. So pretty much this is more like this is the reticle size standing is going to make it where it's just quicker for it to get smaller overall, and the reticle size after shot, just kind of the same thing. If you do want to build more into this, you can. This does make it where a cool intensifies improves by 10% when tracks are broken. So if you are tracked, you do get better cooling. But again, I would personally want to go for this for the extra critical hit multiplier and the shell speed. In the fourth slot, I go with the engine upgraded traverse speed and plus 15% acceleration. It does have a passive effect called Fireboy, which makes it where vehicle gains 15% forward movement speed when gun overheats. Pretty much if you accidentally overheat your gun, you do get extra forward speed, so you're able to run away out of a situation quicker. If you do want more health, you could get some side hull armor instead, but it's more personal preference. I like to get this one for that extra speed in case I mess up and overheat. In the next slot, I go with the muzzle brake, the reticle size after shot. Now you can do the critical multiplier and the module damage if you like. Most of my build is purely focused on this. If you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. But I wanted the reticle size after shots a little bit smaller since I'm on the move a lot when I'm using this thing. And I want to be able to make sure that I'm more accurate. And also I can rapid fire it as well. That just makes it just a little bit more accurate when you're trying to hit those really tight shots. For the next slot, in slot 6, I go with the gun breach with a 10% reload time. It also makes it where the gun cooldown improves by 25% for 8 seconds for scoring a critical hit. So if you're trying to go after those critical hits and you get one of those, you get improved cooldown for 8 seconds for 25%, which is really, really, really nice. Now, this was a really tough one in between. All three of these are really good. The stabilizer are also nice too, because if you use a repair kit, it makes it where your aiming speeds increase by, makes it better for 15 seconds. And then if you have this one here, the Sabo round, it makes it where you do plus 25 damage and plus 25 penetration power. It makes it where you're able to do a little bit extra pen. This was a really tough one between the reload and this one, but I thought overall that this one was a little bit better just because it makes it where you have that improved cooldown by 25% for 8 seconds. But you guys can let me know in the comments which one you prefer. I'll probably mess around and play with this one and this one just to test out to see which one I like better, but as of right now, I prefer this one more. In slot 7, I go with the auto loader, which makes it where 15% magazine loading time, the -1 cooling delay. It makes it where critical hits to enemy vehicles reduces gun heat per critical per shot by 25% for 8 seconds. Pretty much just makes it where you're able to cool down your gun quicker. Very, 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 very useful. Trying to get your shots, pretty get more shots down the range is pretty much why I do that. Now in slot 8, I go with the plus 30 damage and the plus 25 module. If you want, you are able to build more onto speed here, which pretty much is a passive skill where it applies 10% for movement speed when you have more than 50% vehicle HP. So pretty much as long as you're healthy, you're gonna go quicker. Or you can go with turret diverse, but I really haven't had a problem with my turret diverse at all while playing this thing. So it's either you go with the core upgrade or you go with the engine upgrade for slot 8. For slot 9, I just go with the turret radiator with the cooling delay of 0.5 seconds. So it pretty much makes it where you're able to cool down your in-between shots quicker. You could go with the 2-second buff to the emergency cooling upgrade, but it's more of a personal choice, but I prefer just the cooling down since I really don't get into that emergency cooling very often. And finally, for the final upgrade, now a lot of people would be tempted to use these ones where it makes it where 34% less heat per shot, but it makes it where reticle size and reticle size after standing and after shot are worse. But you could do this one if you want. Or you could do the cooling intensify, which makes it where you have better cooling, but it makes it where heat per shot is 33% more. And it does also give you a nice buff for critical multiplier, and it does it where critical hit damage bonus if you have more than a third capacity of a heat. But this right here is where I really wanted to, what I like this one the most. It makes it where reverse speed is 5.4, incoming crit damage to engine is worse, plus 30% sprint acceleration, but those don't really matter. That what really matters is this one right here. It makes it where the gun cooldown improves by 30% when sprinting, which means that pretty much after each shot, you're able to cool the gun quicker when you're using sprint. Very nice if you're trying to just get a quicker cooldown for your tank. But if you're gonna pick and choose between them, I think it's either this one would be good or this one in particular, just because you're making it where you get an extra 34 per, pretty much an extra, it's like an extra shot or two, but for the whole thing. So you're able to get more shots down range. But again, it's more of a personal approach. You can pick or choose, but it's either, I would say either this one or the turbines would be the best one. I'll have to experiment a little bit because like the fact that you get like an extra 2 shots is like really nice. It's just thinking about it, just getting those extra clips are really nice. So I may choose this one in the future, but I like the fact that you get a better gun cooldown, improves by 30% when sprinting, because you can sprint all the time. It's not really hard to get sprint. So I really like that one. This one's more of a bait skill. It makes it where, yeah, you do get cooling intensified 66%, but you're going to have less shots in the total like clip of the cooling because of that extra 33% heating. So it's like you can have better cooling, but you have one less shot when you're just rapidly firing them. With this one, you do get the extra about 1 or 2 shots, but you do have less accuracy. So that's the build for that. For the consumables, I go with, of course, the healing, the universal energy booster, and then, of course, the fire extinguisher. There isn't really that many options currently. They'll most likely add more in the future, but at this point, it's all we have. For perks, I go with improved gun stabilization when shooting on the move, since I am on a move a lot in this thing. It kind of is pretty nice to have that. For the second slot, I go with increased gun accuracy, so that even if my reticle isn't all like closed all the way, I do get a nice little extra accuracy, so the dispersion is a little bit better on that. And for the final perk, I go with improved gun stabilization by 16% when traversing the turret. So as you saw earlier, whenever I was fighting the other Akira, I was like trying to keep my turret on into that little weak spot right underneath the turret there, and I got some nice critical hits. Very useful to be able to do that for sure. But anyway, that is going to be it. If you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely know in the comments down below. Well, this is Overlord Bo. Thank y'all for watching, and I will talk to y'all later.